Waitress reveals shocking secret to billionaire, my mother's ring holds an incredible story, the morning light filtered through the diner's windows like a golden promise. Lila moved deftly between the crowded booths, coffee pot in one hand and a plate of steaming pancakes in the other. "Good morning, everyone," she chimed, her voice bright against the clang of dishes and laughter. Her heart swelled with each smile exchanged, a comforting rhythm amidst her chaotic life as a single mother. As she slid a fresh cup of coffee to a regular, her fingers absent-mindedly brushed against the delicate ring on her finger, her mother's heirloom. It sparkled with the tales of sacrifice and resilience, reminders of a woman who fought for everything she loved. Suddenly, the door swung open, and in he walked James, tall and composed, his polished shoes clicking against the linoleum. His charming smile lit up the room, a stark contrast to the cracked booths and laminated menus. Lila paused, captivated by his presence. Could a man like him even notice someone like her? They exchanged polite greetings, and his laughter made her heart dance. Over the next few mornings, their conversations became a precious escape, a symphony of shared dreams and unspoken hopes. James revealed snippets of his world, the glitz of high-rises and successes, while Lila shared her deep love for her children and the strength rooted in her mother's story. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But with every compliment James paid her, Lila felt the weight of their different worlds pressing down. During one cozy breakfast amid drifting scents of coffee and buttered toast, she found herself sharing the story of her mother's ring. "It's not just a piece of jewelry," she explained, her voice trembling with passion. "It's a marker of love, sacrifices, and tenacity. My mother fought through the toughest battles for our family. This ring carries her strength." James listened, his eyes widening in realization. They may have been kindred spirits, but the gulf between their lives felt monumental. Tension simmered slowly, spurred by a mixture of admiration and confusion. Each moment together was tender yet laced with uncertainty. What would a man like James see in her? A waitress, burdened by her past? Just when her heart whispered to explore the glint of a different future, she felt the pungent sting of doubt return. Her diner, her community, their voices echoed allegations of her worth. What did she have to offer in a world captivated by wealth? Then came the day of reckoning. Emotions flared during a heated exchange, bursting like fireworks between them. "I can't just jump into your world, James. My values aren't for sale. This ring is proof of my legacy. It's love, hard work, and determination." That moment hung between them, raw and charged. Time paused, the clamor of the diner fading, leaving only the thrum of their hearts. She saw confusion cross his face, and every question tingled in the air. Would he understand her? Could he ever grasp the depths of her life? As the diner settled back into its routine, Lila's pulse raced. The challenge lay before her. Was she ready to decide between her familiar struggle and the allure of James's world? The ring, still glinting on her finger, beckoned her toward clarity. Would she cling to her family's truths or embrace the unknown? Lila didn't know yet. But she sensed that this wasn't just another morning, it was the cusp of something profound. And as she turned to James, her heart thudded with untamed possibilities. The quiet returned to the diner, but the air felt charged, as if it held on to their unspoken words. Lila's heart pounded, each beat a reminder of the tension that had flared between them. She stole a glance at James, whose brow furrowed into a deep line of thought. Did she dare to push further, to crack open their fragile connection? As if sensing her gaze, James met her eyes. There was a flicker of understanding, but it was barely there, eclipsed by doubt. "I didn't mean to make you feel that way," he offered softly, his voice low. "It's just sometimes I can't help but think that there is so much more to you than what you show." Her breath caught in her throat. More? What could he possibly see? Beyond the grease-stained apron and the clutches of an everyday life? She wanted to scream that he had no idea, that there were layers to her existence, stitched together by her mother's struggle and her relentless pursuit to provide for her children. But she didn't. Instead, she nodded. You see the surface. But if you look deeper you might not like what you find. James leaned in, his expression encouraging. Try me. Lila hesitated. Suddenly, she felt the weight of the ring on her finger. It felt like a key, but to what? Fear? Regret? Or a path to something greater? Her mind raced back to her mother, the heartache, the resilience, the nights spent sewing patchwork quilts by candlelight. She could almost hear her mother's voice urging her to be brave. Could this be what she wanted? All right, she finally said, her heart racing. If we're going to go deeper, you should know my mother didn't have it easy. She moved mountains for us. This ring? It's not just pretty jewelry. It's a testament to everything she had to endure. James listened intently, his face softened by sincerity. I want to understand. I really do. I lived in a small town, raised by a single mother who fought tooth and nail, and we barely made ends meet. Falling in love, dreaming of something more, it always felt out of reach, Lila confessed, her voice raw and unfiltered. She felt the truth spilling out of her, illuminating the weight she had carried for so long. I don't want to simply step into your life, James. I need you to know that I'm proud of where I came from, but it complicates everything. She trailed off, the words burning in her throat. It doesn't have to be complicated, he replied. He reached across the table, an earnest look in his eyes. You're not tying yourself to my world. We can find a way through this together. Lila studied him, searching for guile behind his hopeful gaze. Was it all just words? Could a man like him truly want to forge a connection with someone like her? I wish it could be that simple, she breathed. I don't wish, he whispered. I want to explore this us. The diner fell silent around them, each patron engulfed in their conversations, but Lila felt like they hovered above the fray, hands clasped under the table, hearts racing in synchrony. But just as she felt hope blooming, the bell above the door chimed. In walked a group of well-dressed executive women, laughter spilling out like champagne. Lila's heart froze. They were James's world, full of light and opportunity, the kind she had grown accustomed to longing for. James's expression shifted, a mix of surprise and hesitation replacing the warmth that had just ignited. He started, glancing towards the newcomers. Panic etched into Lila's chest. Their connection felt so fragile, so easily swept away by the tide of reality. Maybe it's a sign, she whispered, pulling her hand back. James looked into her eyes, confusion knotting his brow. What do you mean? Maybe we're just too different. Was she truly ready to close this door? Before the truth could escape, Lila turned away, her heart heavy. But even as the words spilled from her lips, a flicker of hope remained. Could the connection they felt endure the chaos surrounding them? Would they dare to explore what lay between their worlds? As she stared out of the diner window, the sun dipped lower in the sky. Lila's heart quivered with uncertainty. Where did this lead them? Would courage find a way to bridge the gap, or would fear ultimately guide them apart? Lila's heart thudded painfully in her chest as she turned to face the door, the laughter echoing off the diner walls like a taunt. The executive women, stylish and confident, moved with the ease that came with their lives. Every step they took felt like they were drawing a line between her world and theirs, a chasm that seemed impossibly wide. James shifted in his seat, his attention wavering between the newcomers and her, tangled in uncertainty. Lila, he said softly, trying to draw her back from the brink. She could see the concern in his eyes, but it was mixed with the pressure to conform. Those women represented everything he had always known: ease, sophistication, a life laid out like a carefully prepared menu. Maybe you should go talk to them, she said, her voice clipped. The warmth that had just sparked between them felt like the last embers of a dying fire, flickering out as reality crashed in. They're your friends. He hesitated, lifting his hand, almost reaching for her before letting it drop. They're just acquaintances, really. Lila, this isn't about them. Isn't it? She blinked back the frustration that was threatening to spill over. This thing we have? I don't belong in your world. You were looking at your future, and now I don't know. The laughter from the women broke through once more, and the blood drained from Lila's face. She felt exposed, vulnerable in a way she hadn't anticipated. Like a canvas stripped bare before a critic. How would he see her now? How could he not want to retreat to the familiar? I'm not going anywhere, he said, his voice firm. I mean it, Lila. You matter to me. Yet his eyes flickered back toward the group, caught between wanting to reassure her and the pull of his own insecurities. She took a deep breath, swallowing down her own doubts. I need you to understand that this ring, my mom's sacrifices, they're not just sentimental. They're my history. My struggle. How can I fit in when everyone around you is so far removed from what I know? James leaned forward, intent, aware. You know what that tells me? It tells me you're stronger than most people I know. Your mother fought for you. You're not just anyone, Lila. There's an incredible story in that ring. His sincerity tugged at her heart. Could it really be possible that he wanted to understand? To embrace her history rather than shy away from it? The hope felt fragile, like a spider's web glistening in the sunlight. But then he glanced back, focusing on the group, and her heart dropped. I can't ask you to choose between us, she said, her voice barely a whisper. That's not fair. Wait, he started to reach for her again, but she pulled away, distancing herself from his touch. She needed to think clearly, and this moment felt like a swirling storm. The bell rang again, and a silver-haired man entered, instantly drawing the attention of the executive group. Their conversations grew louder, laughter spilling further into every corner of the diner, and Lila felt that weight in her chest growing unbearable. I should go, she said quickly, throwing a few bills onto the table. I have things to do. Lila, please, but she was already standing, the ring feeling heavier than ever. As she turned to leave, his voice cut through the din, firm and unwavering. You can't just walk away after everything we just shared. Her heart sank, but she refused to look back. She pushed through the door, the night air striking her like a cold slap. Outside, the world felt sharper, the stars prickling through the indigo sky. Could she walk away from someone who made her feel seen? Could she turn her back on a chance to discover what lay beneath the surface? As she strolled down the pavement, the fireflies flickered around her like whispers of hope, urging her to make a choice. But she couldn't quiet the fear that lurked at the edges of her thoughts. How could she venture into the unknown while still tethered to the past? And just as she made the decision to confront her fears, her phone buzzed. It was a message from James. The tension roiling inside her bubbled to the surface. What did he want now? Was he ready to fight for her? Or was it too late? The phone buzzed again, jolting Lila from her spiraling thoughts. She paused mid-step, staring at the screen illuminated by the soft glow of her phone, the message drawing her in like a moth to a flame. She couldn't ignore it, not when her pulse raced at the idea of reconnecting. Just read it, she whispered to herself, stepping to the side of the sidewalk while biting her lip. With shaking fingers, she slid her thumb across the screen. Where did you go? Please, talk to me. His words stirred something deep inside her, a mixture of longing and anxiety coiling tightly around her heart. Would she dare respond? Could she risk opening the door to the emotions that had just begun to crack her outer shell? Initially choosing silence, she focused on the night around her. The soft rustle of trees, the distant sound of laughter from further down the street, and the rhythmic hum of a car engine passing by, all of it felt surreal, disconnected from the turmoil inside her. She took a deep breath, feeling the cool air fill her lungs. There was comfort in the night, but an unease curled at the edges as she replayed their earlier encounter. Before she could talk herself out of it, she began typing, I just needed a moment. The diner was overwhelming. Her thumb hovered over the send button, reluctant to push it. But she wanted to connect, she wanted to share. So much noise. It just feels like the past is pulling me back. The message took a moment to send, a weight lifted with those honest words. The response came almost instantly. I care about you, Lila. I don't want to lose what we have. Her heart thumped again, this time with hope. She took a few steps down the sidewalk, feeling both exhilarated and terrified. Could this be the moment they could truly navigate this chasm? His words ignited something in her, mingling together with the memories of her mother and the ring, a piece of her lineage and story that she had guarded closely. After a moment, she typed back, I don't know how to blend my world with yours. There was silence as she waited for his reply, glancing around and noticing people moving like actors in her own private film. The fireflies danced with a new intensity, illuminating her path as if urging her to embrace the uncertainty ahead. The phone buzzed again, pulling her back to the screen. Lila, I'm willing to learn. I want to understand your world and your past, not just the surface. Her breath caught. This was different. This was a step. A bridge. Meet me? Please. Let us talk. She closed her eyes for a brief moment, images flooding her mind, her mother's struggles, the weight of the ring on her finger, the laughter of the women in the diner mingling with the warmth she felt with James. With a knot forming at the base of her throat, she replied, okay. But as a rush of possibilities washed over her, another notification dinged, causing her stomach to drop. Where? Feeling both the thrill of connection and the weight of her choices, she typed, back at the diner? When I know I can brave the past again. Her heart raced at the idea, but something in her shifted. It was time to confront both her fears and the truths hiding behind them. She stepped off the curb and took a deep breath, her mind racing with intentions. What would they uncover tonight? Was she ready to share the story the ring represented? And just as she took her first step toward the diner, she pondered, what secrets might still remain hidden, threatening to unravel everything she held dear? Lila's heart raced as she approached the diner, the familiar neon lights sparking memories with every step. The cafe buzzed with laughter and conversation, a comforting chaos that felt both welcoming and invasive. She hesitated at the door, the memories of the last visit flooding her mind, tinged with loss and a struggle for acceptance. She spotted James at a corner booth, his face illuminated by the warm glow of the overhead lamp. He looked up as she approached, a mixture of anticipation and concern shadowing his features. He smiled, but Lila could see the question swirling in his eyes. Hey, he said softly, standing as Lila slid into the booth across from him. The scent of coffee wrapped around them like a familiar blanket, grounding her. Hey, she whispered back, glancing down at the table. The polished surface seemed to reflect her tumultuous emotions, reflecting back all her uncertainties. I really appreciate you agreeing to meet, he started, his voice steady yet soft, like he was treading on fragile ground. Lila looked up, forced herself to breathe. I needed to. There's so much I haven't shared, things that weigh heavy on me. James nodded, his expression shifting to one of genuine understanding. You don't have to spill everything right now, Lila. Just whenever you're ready. She swallowed hard, feeling the backdrop of the diner fade as the focus turned solely on them. What do you know about my mother? She asked, surprising even herself with the directness. Not much, he admitted, running a hand through his hair. I know she was special to you, and I saw how it affected you when we were last here. A knot tightened in her chest. She left me a ring of family heirloom. It's not just a piece of jewelry. It was her companion through everything, through the silence, the struggles. She hesitated, feeling her pulse quicken. I think it's more than just a ring. It's tied to who I am. James leaned in, his eyes earnest. I want to understand. Tell me about it. Lila took a deep breath, grappling with the memories and emotions swirling inside her. My mom, she had a tough life. A life filled with hardships and choices that led to her never finding peace. That ring was her anchor, but it also felt like a weight one I inherited. Did it ever bring you comfort? He asked, genuine curiosity lighting his gaze. Sometimes. It felt magical in a way. Like when you put it on, you could almost hear her voice. She traced a finger over the table, imagining the ring resting against her skin. But it also reminded me of the burdens I carry, the secrets, the mistakes. I wasn't ready to face it, until now, I guess. James nodded again, tilting his head. What if sharing those secrets could lighten the load? A tremble of vulnerability wrapped around her heart. What if it doesn't? What if it drives me further away from you? Then we face that together. He met her gaze, a flicker of determination lighting his features. I'm not going anywhere. Feeling the warmth of his words, Lila's heart took a leap, and she realized she was ready. It was time to unearth not just the ring's story but her own. But as she settled deeper into the moment, the bell over the diner's door jingled, shattering the cocoon around them. The eyes of a stranger landed on her, and an inexplicable tension filled the air. The thrill of connection suddenly felt fragile, threatened by an unknown force. Who was this new player in her story, and what did they want? Who? Lila hesitated, curiosity mixed with anxiety twisting in her stomach. James turned to see who had entered, his expression shifting to one of confusion. I don't know. Just then, the stranger took a step closer, eyes fixed on Lila, a faint smile creeping across their lips. What did they know? And how would it alter everything she and James were about to uncover? Lila's breath caught in her throat as the stranger moved closer. The other patrons, engrossed in their meals and conversations, faded into the background, their chatter forming a dull hum against the rising tension. Do I know you? She asked, her voice barely above a whisper, clarity mixed with hesitance. The stranger's smile widened as if they were savoring a private joke. James's arm shifted protectively on the table, closing the space between them. Can I help you? He asked, voice steady yet laced with concern. His protective nature wrapped around Lila like a shield. The stranger's gaze flickered between James and Lila before landing back on her. Not yet, but soon. There was a strange familiarity in their eyes, nearly unsettling, and Lila felt a chill race down her spine. What do you mean? Lila replied, her pulse racing. Who are you? My name is Alina, the stranger said, their tone smooth yet unsettlingly calm. And I believe we have some unfinished business. James shifted in his seat, a half-hearted attempt to delve into the interloper's intent. What are you talking about? Why are you looking for Lila? I know about the ring, Alina stated, still smiling but with a glimmer of authority. The one your mother left behind. Lila's heart hammered in her chest. The ring. Her mother's legacy, the thing that had haunted her and through which she sought solace. How do you know about it? She pressed, feeling both curiosity and fear combat within her. Alina's gaze didn't waver. Believe me, it's a long story, and you deserve to hear it. But not here. They gestured toward the front of the diner, where the neon lights pulsed with life. There's too many ears in this place. I can help you understand your mother's choices, and why she left that ring with you. James's jaw tightened, and he leaned closer to Lila. His voice was steady but low. Lila, you don't have to listen to her. We can leave. We can walk away. But Lila felt something shift, a pull deep within her that longed to grasp at the unanswered questions that had shadowed her life. No. I need to know. She turned back to Alina. Lead the way. As they pushed through the diner's door, the evening air hit Lila's face like a splash of cold water. The night felt heavy, pregnant with secrets, and her heart raced with anticipation and dread intertwined. Alina led the way, and Lila followed, with James close at her side. So what is it? Lila demanded, trying to curb her anxiousness. What is the truth behind my mother and that ring? Alina turned, tapping the side of their head with an index finger as if lost in thought. It's not just a ring. It's connected to a legacy you don't fully understand yet, but it holds power beyond what you know. Lila stopped, suddenly overwhelmed. Power? What do you mean? The stranger paused, their expression shifting to something serious. It ties into a life she left behind, a life that's still chasing her, and now, it's coming for you too. Fear gripped Lila's heart. James stepped closer, the intensity of the moment washing over him. What do you mean? What's coming for her? Alina regarded them both, a weighty silence descending. The answers lie in the ring and the people it connects to. You need to be ready, Lila. This journey won't just uncover your past, it will change everything you thought you knew about yourself. Just then, the hairs on Lila's neck prickled as she noticed a silhouette at the edge of the street. Someone was watching them. She felt the walls closing in, as if the very night was clamoring for her attention. Who's that? Lila asked, pointing toward the figure. But as she turned, the stranger faded back into the shadows, leaving her heart pounding and her mind racing. What awaited her in this tangled web of secrets, and would it lead her deeper into her mother's world or further from James? The air buzzed with unanswered questions, and Lila felt the walls of her life shifting around her, ready to turn. What was she stepping into? And how far was she willing to go to find the truth before it consumed her? Lila's hands shook as she turned to face Alina, her heart racing. Breathless anticipation simmered in the air, turning every second into an eternity. James's presence beside her felt like both a comfort and a constraint, grounding her while simultaneously warning her away from this uncharted territory. Who was that? James's voice broke through her thoughts, urgency lacing his words. She could practically feel him radiating concern, but her resolve flickered alive in the face of the unknown. I don't know, she admitted softly, glancing over her shoulder at the empty street. They were standing under flickering streetlights, shadows dancing around them. The world felt different, charged with possibilities and danger. But I need to hear what Alina has to say. Alina smiled a cryptic smile that hinted both at warmth and something darker. It's hard to explain everything right now, but trust me, your mother's ring is more than just a piece of jewelry. It's a key, Lila. A key to unlock the truth about your heritage. What do you mean? Lila replied, fighting the urge to retreat. Her mind raced back to the countless nights she spent staring at that ring in her mother's old jewelry box, never once guessing it held secrets this deep. It represents a connection, Alina said, their eyes glinting with intensity. Your mother wasn't just someone who left you, she had a legacy that was bigger than she could handle. People are drawn to it, and now they're drawn to you. James stepped closer, his protective energy radiating off him like heat. What kind of people? He asked, voice low but tinged with an edge of anger, as if daring Alina to threaten them. The kind who will do anything to reclaim what's theirs, Alina replied, shifting their gaze back to Lila. But it's also the kind of legacy that can change the world, and maybe even you, Lila. You could embrace it, but you have to be prepared for what that means. The weight of those words felt like a boulder pressing on her chest. Change me? How? What am I supposed to do? Panic started to bubble inside her. Was she truly ready to dive into this abyss of unknowns? Discovering the truth is the first step, Alina said patiently. But there's no turning back once you search for it. Are you willing to face what your mother ran from? A million thoughts swirled in Lila's mind. She thought of her mom, the love she felt, and the shadows that came with those memories. The fear she felt as a child living in a world of whispers about family dishonor and secrets. The more she learned, the more she could finally piece together the puzzle in her heart. I have to know, she finally whispered, her voice steadier. Alina nodded, and with a wave of their hand, beckoned Lila to follow. Good. Our first stop is a relic of the past. A place your mother knew well. It will reveal the memories intertwined with that ring. Before Lila could respond, she caught movement from the edge of her vision. Another figure emerged from the darkness, a man, tall and foreboding, his presence making her heart pause. What did he want? Lila, we need to go, now. James urged, pulling her back slightly, his instincts screaming at him to be cautious. Yet Alina didn't falter, their eyes locked on the new arrival. This is exactly what I was worried about, Alina whispered. You're not safe here. Lila felt a chill seep into her bones. Was it too late? Questions flooded her mind, but she knew the answers lay ahead. The stakes had just risen, and they were deeper than she ever imagined. Her heart raced as she faced the lurking figure. "What do we do?" she murmured, half to herself. In that moment, she realized this journey would unearth more than just the mysteries of her past. It would push her to the edge, forcing her to confront not only her mother's legacy but also the shadowy figures that hunted it. "Run," Alina said, taking a step forward, a fierce expression on their face. "It's time to discover the truth and survive." But as they turned to flee, Lila hesitated, a fierce determination rising within her. Would she let fear decide her fate, or was it time to confront whatever came next, whether it was the weight of her mother's legacy or the dark figures who sought to reclaim it? With a deep breath, Lila took a step forward into the unknown, her next words caught midway. Would she be ready for the storm that awaited? Lila's heart thundered in her chest as she stepped into the night, Alina's command echoing in her ears. The figure lurking in the shadows was closer now, his gaze piercing through the darkness. She could feel James's grip tighten on her arm. His eyes warned of the danger, but something deeper inside her whispered an intoxicating promise of discovery and power. "Don't look back. Just keep moving," James muttered, his voice low and fierce. They followed Alina down a narrow alley, the world outside fading into muffled sounds. With every step, anticipation and fear swirled together inside of her, a chaotic dance that made her pulse quicken. They rounded a corner, stepping into the safety of a dimly lit courtyard. The air felt charged, almost electric, and Lila could feel the long-buried memories of her mother lingering in the shadows. Alina paused, breathing heavily. "This is where we'll start," they said, turning to face Lila with unwavering intensity. "What do you mean?" Lila's voice wavered, the weight of expectation heavy upon her. "What do we need to find?" Alina gestured to an old building just beyond the courtyard. It was crumbling, with ivy creeping up its walls, but Lila recognized it from the faded photographs her mother had kept. It had been a place of mystery, filled with whispers and half-formed thoughts about her family's history. "This is the old library," Alina explained, a spark of excitement flickering in their eyes. "Your mother spent countless hours here. There are records, hidden truths. Everything we need to understand her legacy and your connection to it." Lila hesitated, a flood of emotions crashing over her. The memories tugged at her, filling her with both trepidation and a flicker of anticipation. "What if we find something I'm not ready for?" "Then we confront it," Alina replied simply, as if it were the most natural response in the world. "You deserve to know your mother's story." James placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. "We'll face it together. Whatever it is." The reassurance in his voice filled her with strength, and Lila took a deep breath, steeling herself. She felt the ring on her finger, a weight that suddenly felt less like a burden and more like a map, guiding her home. As they moved toward the library, the looming figure stepped into the light, revealing a face she hadn't been prepared for. Her breath caught. He looked vaguely familiar, like an echo of a ghost from her childhood. "Lila," he spoke, his voice smooth yet foreboding. "I've been looking for you." "Who are you?" she demanded, freezing in her tracks. Anxiety melded with defiance. "What do you want from me?" He stepped closer, a predatory smile creeping across his lips. "What you have is what I want. That ring isn't just a story, it's the key to powers far beyond your imagination. And I intend to reclaim what's mine." Fear fluttered in Lila's chest. She glanced at Alina and James. "What does he mean?" "The forces gathering around your heritage are not just threats. They're hungry," Alina said urgently. "Whatever your mother left behind, it's vital. And they nodded toward the man is here to take it back." The courtyard suddenly felt constricting, shadows closing in like a vice around her. The air thickened with the tension of the moment, and Lila's instinct screamed for her to fight back. But just at that moment, a crashing sound echoed through the alley, and Lila wasn't sure if it was brave or reckless, but she took a step toward the man. "You won't get anything without a fight." His gaze darkened, a flicker of surprise piercing through his confident demeanor. "So you know of your mother's strength. Good. But do you have what it takes to protect it?" The question hung between them, heavy with consequence. Lila squared her shoulders, ready to defend her newfound desire for truth, for understanding, and for the legacy she had a right to embrace. "I'll find out one way or another," she declared, the fire within her igniting, but just as she prepared to step forward, a distant siren shrieked through the night, echoing a warning that beckoned her to heed caution. Lila stood at the brink of uncertainty, heart racing in anticipation of the chaos that approached. Who would she become in this fight? And how far was she willing to go to protect her mother's legacy? As the sound of approaching footsteps grew louder, uncertainty closed around her like an icy grip. Would she be able to stand her ground, or would the shadows drag her back into a past she didn't understand? Lila stood firm, her heart pounding against her ribcage as the figure watched her, seemingly unfazed by the sirens. The air thickened with confrontation, the kind that made her want to recoil but also pushed her forward, daring her to embrace the challenge. "Do you think you can intimidate me with that little speech?" Lila retorted, trying to channel the bravery she didn't fully feel. "Because I'm not afraid of you." He grinned, and for a moment, the shadows around him seemed to shiver with approval. "Fear is the first step to power," he said, his tone mockingly sweet. "You have no idea what you're truly dealing with." "Then enlighten me," Lila shot back, unable to help the fire in her voice. Before he could respond, footsteps echoed from the alley, and James stepped closer to Lila, his stance protective yet tense. "We need to leave. Now," he urged. "Not without the truth," she insisted, her resolve hardening. She couldn't turn away from this moment, this confrontation that had been lingering in the edges of her life like a dusty book just waiting to be opened. Alina moved beside her, eyes narrowed. "We came here for answers, Lila. Every moment we waste gives him more time to prepare." The man chuckled, a sound that rumbled through the air, almost a challenge. "You think you can find answers in the library? Those walls hold more than your mother's quaint little stories. They contain secrets that could rip your world apart." "What's that supposed to mean?" James demanded, the protective instinct surging through him. But the man waved a hand dismissively, turning his gaze exclusively to Lila. "Open the door, and you'll see. But remember, some doors shouldn't be opened." A piercing gaze locked with hers, chilling her to her core. There was an intensity in his voice, and it echoed the doubts that toyed with her heart. Was she ready to dig deeper? What could she possibly uncover? "I will open that door," she declared, her voice louder now, infused with a newfound determination. "My mother believed in her legacy. I'll fight to understand it." The man's smile faded into something more serious as the sirens blared closer. "Time's running out, Lila. Who knows how quickly the forces of darkness will descend upon you." The sound of approaching police became a frantic backdrop to the confrontation, and shadows flickered. James tugged on her arm. "We need to go. We can't face him here." "Not yet," Lila protested, glancing at the crumbling facade of the library. That place held the key to everything. She felt it deep in her bones. "You can't let fear control you," Alina urged, a fierce glimmer of support in their eyes. "We fight together. If you're ready." The air felt electric, crackling with tension and urgency. The choice lay heavy in her heart: flee with James and Alina or confront what lay ahead in the library. In that moment, the shadows closed in, whispering promises of secrets untold and the weight of her mother's legacy. With every heartbeat, she could almost hear her mother's voice guiding her, reminding her of the strength that was always there. "I need a moment," Lila finally said, her voice steady. She stepped back, the decision taking shape in her mind like a solid foundation beneath her feet. "What are you planning?" James whispered, concern etched across his face. "I'm going to take my chance," she replied, determination flickering in her eyes. "But I need you both to cover me. If something goes wrong." Alina nodded fervently. "We're with you, Lila. Always." As she turned towards the library, the shadows twisted around her like living entities, suggesting both danger and wonder. She took a deep breath, steeling herself for what lay ahead. The sirens echoed louder, but more than that sound, something else beckoned, a silent call to her history. When she grabbed the door handle, the weight of her choices rested heavy on her shoulders. Would she discover secrets that could change everything she knew about her family and herself? The question lingered in the air, a prelude to the truth ready to spill forth. The door creaked as Lila turned the handle, her heart pounding like a drumroll in her chest. The library felt alive as she stepped inside, the air thick with dust and secrets waiting to be uncovered. Shelves towered over her, filled with ancient books that whispered through the silence, echoing tales of the past. Memories of her mother tickled her mind, the stories that once seemed distant now blossoming with urgency. James and Alina stood at her side, their presence a comforting anchor amidst the swirling unknown. "You're ready for this?" James asked, eyes wide with concern but filled with admiration. "I have to know," Lila murmured, her voice steady. The ring on her finger felt alive, pulsing with the energy of her mother's legacy. This was more than just a ring, it was a lineage rooted deep in courage and sacrifice, and she'd finally begun to grasp its meaning. Her fingers glided over the spines of the books like a breadcrumb trail leading her forward. "Look over there," Alina pointed towards a wall lined with dusty manuscripts. Their eyes lit up with determination. "That's where your mother's records might be." With a deep breath, Lila approached the collection, her pulse quickening. She carefully removed one of the volumes, the musty smell of the pages wrapping around her like an embrace. Flipping it open revealed a meticulous account of her mother's life, each entry a brushstroke painting the portrait of a woman who fought valiantly for her family. Suddenly, the library door slammed shut behind them with a loud bang, reverberating through the room. Lila felt a chill spread across her skin, her heart racing as the shadows flickered. "We have to hurry," she said, urgency creeping into her voice. "Whatever we find, it's important." As they rifled through the pages, her mother's voice echoed in her thoughts, urging her on. "You are my legacy," it seemed to say. "Fight for who you are." The stories calmed her doubts, infusing her with strength. Each revelation breathed life into their reality, a thread connecting her family's past to her present. But just as the pages turned, a loud crash rang outside, jolting Lila from her focus. The man from before, the one looking for her, was there, a stoic figure against the growing chaos. "Time's up," he called out, voice commanding, filled with menace. Lila's heart raced. "We need to leave," James urged, tugging at her sleeve. But Lila held her ground. "No. If this is just a dream, I want to wake up knowing the whole story." Alina nodded, fierce determination gleaming in their eyes. "We can face him together." "Is that so?" The imposing figure stepped closer, eyes glinting with a predatory quality. "Then let us see how far you're willing to go for the truth." Her breaths quickened, not from fear, but the thrill of standing for something greater than herself. "You think you can intimidate me? This is my legacy." She could feel the energy shift in the air, the memories swirling around her like whispers of encouragement, rallying behind her spirit. The man's expression faltered for just a moment, surprise flickering across his keen features. "You think you can protect that ring without understanding its power?" "I don't need to understand it all right now," Lila replied, her voice echoing with newfound strength. "I will uncover the truth, and if that truth means I have to fight, then so be it. My mother wouldn't have run from it, neither will I." She stepped forward, the light from the dim library flickering around her like a protective aura. "Bold words for someone who doesn't know the consequences," he sneered. "Maybe they're bolder than your threats," she shot back, heart racing with defiance. "I'm not afraid of you." In that moment, she realized how much her mother's legacy had been woven into her own identity, the courage, the fierce love, the battles fought for every joy cherished. And it was this truth that strengthened her, filling her with the fire she needed to face any darkness that sought to take her down. As a surge of energy coursed through her, Lila felt the ring glow faintly against her skin, as if affirming her resolve. "Let us do this." She turned to James and Alina, inviting their strength into her emerging certainty. And then, something shifted. The library's ancient walls began to vibrate, growing alive with secrets that begged to be revealed. Illuminated pages fluttered around them, a symphony of their mother's past intermingling with theirs, carving a pathway through the uncertainty. Together, they shouted, hands clasped in unison. The ring on her finger gleamed brightly, and Lila felt the echo of generations lifting her spirit. Whatever she was to uncover, she would navigate it side by side with those who chose to stand with her. In that very moment of unyielding unity, they opened the door to a world steeped in potential not just of the past, but the choices they would make moving forward. With her family's legacy on the line, Lila was prepared to confront whatever lay ahead, an adventure that would shape the fabric of who she was destined to become. The power of her mother's ring, the strength of friendships that blossom through uncertainty, and the courage to embrace the fight would lead them to uncovering the truth together. She felt the shot of adrenaline as everything rolled into focus. This was it. "Let us go," Lila said, leading them toward the unknown with a hopeful heart and a fight that would ignite change. As they stepped into the fray together, the night seemed to light up with purpose. Beyond the shadows, light awaited them. Light and legacy ready to be embraced. Now it was time to find out what it truly meant to fight for family, for love, and for hope. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of backing the channel through these actions.